Hello.
Episode 14 is officially beginning, and it's great to see everyone. So happy to be on this side of COVID. And I'll take my first slide. There's a lot going on tonight, so I just want to make sure that everybody knows that they're on the right Zoom, okay? So this is GDerm Fresh, Generational Dermatology. This is a meeting about looking ahead and making plans of prevention for your evolving aging patient by practicing generational dermatology. And this Zoom has been going on for about almost 2 years. With COVID, it got started because we just wanted to continue our community and in preparation for our live meeting. So, someone asked me, reached out, and they said, can you talk a little bit about these generations? So we'll start at the top of the black and white, the silent generation, and that was really the post-war. And then their children, the boomers, which are the colorful group with John Lennon and JFK and the emoji, Farah, James Brown, that group. And that group of generation was really about expression, and it was very happy and very much about, and you can see in this photo, it's very much about we, the collective. So it was a movement, a force, and it's important because these are the way that patients of these generations think. Moving up to the MTV sign, that was Generation X, and that was the first generation where a lot of moms were out into the workplace, and they call that the latchkey generation because kids were home and they needed something to watch. And they were watching MTV, and MTV really, exploded in this generation, and music videos, people like Madonna and Prince, they all use that medium to get music to reach the people. Moving down, we have our millennials, right? They also call themselves Generation I, or the selfie generation. And that was the generation really of self-esteem, right? Everybody got an award, whether you placed first or last, right? And started the kind of the whole self-esteem movement. And these are patients that before they see you, they know who you are, they've done their research, and they're going to come to you knowing exactly what they want. And then our last generation here is Gen Z. And this generation is called a lot of times the technology generation or the iPad generation. And they're a really interesting group. And they, again, know exactly what they want, very focused on social media, celebrity. So these generations are very cool. And I'll take my next slide. And so I just wanted to, touch base a little bit. So like we saw each other back in April, and I wanted to talk about a few things. And as we open up, I know I've been to some great meetings, and I wanted to give a shout out to two great meetings that I've been to since we were last all together in April. And that was ASLAMS, which was the laser meeting, a society meeting in San Diego. That was a phenomenal meeting. And then a few of us on the call, we just got back from Scale in Nashville, which was another great meeting. So I just, we're back, and GDerm will be back February 16th to the 19th. That's President's Day weekend. And hi, Dr. O'Brien, I see you. And we're so excited about it. And there's some really good perks for early bird registration. There's a buy one, get one. So hit us up at generationaldermatology.com. And let's get you registered. And we're going to have a phenomenal faculty. Happy Mother's Day to those mothers out there. Everybody's a mother, everybody nurtures. So happy Mother's Day. And Father's Day is coming up. So happy Father's Day. I'll take the next slide. So this is about the meat of the meeting, what you as a medical expert need to know about the biggest skincare trend in 2022. And you may not have heard about it, but your patients are certainly hearing about it, primarily on social media, and it's called clean cosmeceuticals. So some of the buzzwords for clean cosmeceuticals are clean, organic, non-toxic, green, clean and green, right? Sourced, sustainable, natural ingredients, extraction technology, and ethically sourced. This is the new lingo, and this is why we're having this episode. I thought it was really important for us to really learn and understand these terms. And we've got an incredible group of experts on that are going to explain these things. Why is it important? Well, $19 billion prestige beauty market. There is a demand for these types of beauty products, and it's continuing to increase, right? So this market, skincare labels that position themselves as natural grew 14% over 1 year in 2019. Clean brands, and there's a difference between clean and natural. So we're going to find all this out today. Clean brands jumped 39%. Okay, so today the clean skincare category makes up 13% of high-end skin sales. And this is double the size from 4 years earlier. Well, who the driving force behind it? You're looking at the two generations, millennials and Gen Z. They are the culprits. They're at the wheel, and they are driving this market through internet and through the pressure of social responsibility, environmental responsibility, taking care of our planet. And these are just concepts that we in generations before us have never really had to deal with in terms of cosmeceuticals and carrying cosmeceuticals and being informed for our patients. So that's why we're doing this today. And it's a great pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Michael Mullane. And I will take his slide, and so happy you could join us, Michael. Michael likes to collect degrees. He's an MD, MBA, and MPH. He's the Chief Executive Officer at Greenway Therapeutics, which is a biotech company, medically focused, really composed of scientists and physicians. And they're making therapeutic medical grade cannabinoid products using cutting edge nanotechnology, which some exciting things. I can't wait to hear your talk, Michael. You've had so much experience in high level scientific programs, clinical trials, FDA. You're a graduate from Tulane Medical School, right? Who dat?
Yeah. Greenway.
Public Health from Tulane, and an MBA from University of California, Irvine. Paul Mirage School of Business. Welcome to GDerm Fresh, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy, for that great introduction. Appreciate you. And I'm excited. Thank you for having me. I think this is a timely topic to talk about cannabinoids, since so many of our patients are asking about CBD this and other things that they're seeing on mass media. So I think it's a great opportunity to further educate ourselves. So if you are ready, I'll jump into it. Okay, so let me pull up the presentation. All right, you guys see the slide deck?
Yep, you're all good.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so these are my disclosures. I think Wendy covered some of it. I'm the CEO of Greenway Therapeutics, but more to focus in this talk is actually educational in the next 30 minutes. If you allow me, I would love to really upgrade your knowledge about cannabinoids, this field, what's been happening and what's going to happen, because cannabinoids are here to stay, and there's just going to be more information that's going to be coming out on the public realm about it. So there's a little outline and we'll just jump into it. So before I get started, I do this great talk about the history of cannabinoids, and there's actually a big history with cannabis. It goes back 6,000 years, and interestingly enough, it was the first medicine to be in a pharmacopoeia one of the first few medicines back 6,000 years ago with the Chinese Qing doctor who found that they had some level of anti-inflammatory properties. And later on, it got spread to the Indian Ayurvedic medicines. And as far as history goes, it was utilized, looking back at some of the findings in Egypt and in Galen's, actually pharmacopoeia, it was considered one of the lead plant medicines that was used at the time. Actually, with this, cannabis was used as medicine all the way up to the 1900s. In 1920, there's information showing there's something like 80 conditions that the doctors of the time used to treat patients with cannabis. And for some reason, in the 1900s, the plant became, for lack of a better term, more bastardized in the sense that because of certain external forces, competitions, and I'm not sure why it's skipping ahead, it actually became more of a political issue. The term marijuana was introduced, which is actually has nothing to do with the plant. It's actually some random weed from Mexico, but it was politicized as being called marijuana, and these people are coming in and bringing their marijuana, and we need to fight that. And yeah, it was kind of a dark time for cannabis, actually, leading all the way up to the Nixon administration and the politics behind turning a plant that for 6,000 years has been used by humans as medicine into a Schedule I drug, like heroin, for example, and putting it at that level for some odd reason, despite of multiple government agencies showing data, there's no safety issues, it shouldn't be Schedule I, but it was sort of lobbied through. And the impact of that has been tremendously negative from a medical perspective, because honestly, what has happened is there's an opportunity for us to use it as medicine, and that's been taken away. But there's hope. In more recent years, it has become more legal, and actually with the Farm Bill passing in 2018, hemp now, which is the original plant, is now legal in all the states. So as a hemp product, CBD that's extracted from hemp is considered legal. And actually looking at a map of all the states, almost majority of the US states allow some provision for CBD use. So, there's some differences if the CBD is from marijuana or if it's from hemp, but more or less, there are a couple of states like Idaho, Nebraska, and Kansas that the guidelines are not clear yet, but I'm sure they will become more clear. As far as most of us, I would assume most of us on the call are from California, so no issues there. We've been on the leading front. Here's a little glossary that I put together. I thought this would be good for everybody to kind of learn the difference between the terminology. So hemp would be any cannabis product that has less than 0.3% THC. So the definition of hemp is the original plant without the concentration of THC, and 0.3 is just negligible. I don't know why it's jumping ahead automatically. Marijuana would be the plant that has more than 0.3%. And it's good to understand that the plant actually originally did not have high concentrations of THC. It had high concentrations of CBD, but over the years, because THC has become sort of the thing that people want to utilize or smoke or whatever, then new strains have been developed or have been crossed for to have high THC concentration. The other thing everybody should know, especially when it comes to cosmeceuticals, is hemp oil. The term hemp oil is thrown out all the time with hemp oil, and they put big cannabis leaves on the products. But in all reality, hemp oil is great. It's very nutritional. It has a lot of good properties, but it's very low on cannabinoids. So if the intention is to use the actives, which, let's say CBD, hemp oil is not necessarily really high in CBD. So that should be something that we should be aware of when products are, and there are a lot of products out there right now, and I'll talk about that are categorized as hemp oil. The other thing is CBD is not psychoactive. That's important to note. You'd be surprised how many questions I still get that, oh, well, if I use CBD, will that show up on a drug test? There's actually no current tests available right now that test for CBD. That's not even on the radar. THC is the only thing. And if you're using hemp-based CBD, it's almost assured that there's not going to be any THC or any measurable amounts in anyone's system. 0.3% is less than that. It's so small. So that, and I think we talked a little bit about the hemp products that are currently available. Actually, usually when I present this, I have people show of hands. So virtual show of hands. If you've ever had anyone ask you about CBD, or if you know someone that's using CBD for a skin condition, because it's becoming so much more mainstream and popular. Actually, there was an article in Derm Times in January of 22 that surveyed, and a lot of patients are actually using CBD over-the-counter products. Here was a fuller study by the GW group, and they actually surveyed 700 patients that had used over-the-counter CBD products, and of those, 504 actually responded. And what they found was pretty interesting, that somewhere between 15 to 20% of patients are actually using cannabinoids for their dermatological conditions. And what they actually concluded in this paper was, this is the time for us as doctors and healthcare providers to educate ourselves, learn more about what these products are doing, what they are, and also use this as an opportunity to educate them, when they ask us questions. So looking at the graphs, you could see the most common condition, actually, interestingly enough, was acne, then psoriasis, rosacea, contact derm, systemic sclerosis actually was on that list. So that's interesting. Dermatomyositis, melanoma, and the list goes on, atopic derm, wound healing, and etc. But a lot of the spectrum is in the inflammatory cascade, which is in line with what CBD actually does. So with that transition, I'm going to jump into the science of CBD, lightning round on what it actually does. So good for everyone to know that cannabinoids work on the endocannabinoid system of our bodies. And if you weren't taught this in medical school, now we know. In 1988, we found that there's this whole system in our bodies that is the endocannabinoid system. We have the receptors for it, and on top of that, actually, cannabinoids, we have internal cannabinoids, and endamine being one of the big ones, bind to these receptors. So why do we have this system in our bodies? Why did the body create this? And ultimately, the short answer to that is it causes equilibrium. So cannabinoids are, in some ways, if you think of it, a central switch. And when something is going out of control, let's say inflammation or some other insult to the body, these receptors are activated and endocannabinoids are released to bring you back to equilibrium. And you almost have these on every tissue and a majority of cells in your body. Now, there's the CB1 receptor that we may have heard of, where THC works more on, which is more in your central nervous system. And then there's a CB2 receptor that works more in the peripheral nervous system, where the skin and also CBD is more involved on. There are lots of other disorders that CBD has shown to work, but our focus for this talk is going to be the inflammatory conditions, primarily on the skin, which reduce the cell proliferation and some of those cascades. And actually, if you look at the picture of the skin, you see that the keratinocytes have the receptors, the sebocytes have the receptors, Langerhans cells, melanocytes, hair follicles. We're just scratching the surface on all the possibilities. These receptors are there for a reason. And this plant figured out, oh, wow, if I mimic something that helps these primates and later on humans, maybe they will spread my seeds, right? That's what evolution usually does. And it did, it copied our receptors. But it's good to note that we actually endogenously have all these binding sites. Not to go too detailed into this, but this is a great summary from the Bernstein study. If you think of the anti-inflammatory cascade of things that are happening, the TRPV1 receptor is pretty key for cannabinoids, and so are the CB2 receptors. So what we're doing in part, and it's multifactorial, but it does affect decreasing the pro-inflammatory cytokines like IL-2, TNF-alpha, IL-6, IL-12, IL-17. These are all the things that we have drugs for currently. Sometimes we have a drug that just focuses on one of these. But what I want to highlight is CBD actually, when it gets to these receptors, has a cascade that affects a lot of these, including the COX-2 system, including arachidonic acid release, and so on. So it is really exciting that all these receptors are there and we can bind to them. This is actually a good graphic from a recent study from last year, where you could see that endocannabinoid, our internal cutaneous endocannabinoid system, for psoriasis, you have the CB1, CB2 receptors, chronic pruritus, which is, I'll have some data on that, atopic derm, allergic contact dermatitis, systemic sclerosis, and even photo damage. We have multiple receptors that respond well to this. As far as the safety component goes, it's really important to note that it's pretty safe. I'll leave it at that. There's been data that has looked at concentrations of 1,500 milligrams per day of CBD taken up, which is a pretty large concentration. There's also a drug, an FDA-approved drug called Epidiolex, and they didn't find any safety issues. But even at high doses, which 1,500 milligrams would be, most skin products, anywhere between 50 to 100 to even 300 for the whole bottle. So you can imagine every time you put it on, maybe you're putting 5 milligrams of CBD on, and a lot of that is not even going in the internal system. So it's good to note that even at 1,500 milligrams, there haven't been many side effects to CBD. Something I want to point out here is currently we're in a flux. Currently this space for a lot of products that you see, CBD is heavily marketed right now. You see it everywhere. And it's a problem because a lot of these companies are creating these products. They're not doing it with any clinical testing. There's minimal quality control, poor consistency. And that's really important. You're not getting the same concentration of CBD from one product to another. And who knows how much THC they have in there. So it's been an issue. Not, the big companies not going into this space yet has caused a lot of smaller companies creating things that are not necessarily at the same standards we're used to with our skin products. So that's something in the near future, I think, will get addressed as more standardization comes into, and we have that technology, just needs to be applied. One of the biggest issues I want to put out there, and this is something a lot of people haven't thought about, and we came across this barrier ourselves, developing a CBD product, recognizing that the biggest issue with CBD is not the CBD or even the quality of CBD. CBD is a molecule and it's great. It's the same molecule. The biggest issue right now with CBD is that it doesn't get through the skin. Your skin's barrier has, if you want to imagine this, you look at the diagram on the right here, you have a lot of oil in the CBD. A lot of times it's oil based, and oftentimes most of the products out there are using MCT oil. And to get that through the skin, ultimately you're putting oil on top of the skin, which is mostly water. So what's going to happen? It's going to stay in the droplet, and at most you're going to get some of the CBD from the outside surface of that droplet into the skin, maybe 10 to 15%. That's kind of what the average is right now for most products out there. So one of the solutions back in 2018 that we started looking at as a group of doctors was, how can we apply some of the current advances in current skin technology, penetration enhancement, and so on to CBD and what could work. And we have to kind of start from scratch with limited resources and limited companies that are wanting to experiment with CBD to try to figure out what can 10x this. How can we get the CBD that we know works into the skin? And what we started doing is looking at nanotechnology. And actually, here's an article that was recently published 3 years after we started this journey, looking at and recommending that nano-sizing CBD or other cannabinoids for that matter significantly would enhance the penetration. Because what you're in part by doing, you're taking one giant droplet and you turn it into 10,000 smaller ones. And you can imagine you're significantly increasing the surface area of those droplets that touch the skin, hence enhancing the penetration of the cannabinoid, which is the intended goal. And if you want to think about nano, we're taking CBD and turning it into droplets around 50 nanometers. And if you look at this chart, nano going all the way down to 0.1 nanometer, which is the size of an atom. So you can imagine one CBD molecule with about 23, 24 carbons is half a nanometer. So we're breaking this down to a size of about 20 to 50 nanometers. So you can imagine it's only a handful of molecules. It's half the size of what a virus would be. And by doing this, you're significantly enhancing the penetration potential. So I have, in my opinion, nano cannabinoid products are the future technology that will significantly enhance what we see with these products, because it significantly helps with the penetration issue.
Michael, question.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is amazing. So I just want to tell everybody, because I know you're writing down questions like I am. So put your questions in chat and we'll answer them all. So are these droplets being received by the receptors, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the CBD is part of it. Ultimately the goal is to get the CBD through the skin. And then once it gets through the skin, it diffuses down to all the receptors, right? And then obviously you see the intended effect on the receptors that need it the most. But all this technology has been put into play so we can actually get this big lipophilic molecule through the skin layer. We've added some other technology to it as well. One is a pharmaceutical grade penetration enhancer. We had to test a bunch of them to find out which ones are compatible with CBD. So currently we're using an RX RX approved or utilized penetration enhancer. And this kind of technology has not yet been applied by all the CBD products or companies out there, but we're trying to do that from a medical perspective, right? Because we found that almost every CBD product out there currently is subtherapeutic for if you're using it for anti-aging or some of the other things, maybe it's fine. But for medical issues, for it to have impact, you need to get more CBD through the skin. So that was the goal. And we started at a low concentration and have worked our way up to see what we're seeing. And to have the effects that would be, let's just say, almost similar to steroids, we need to have high concentration. So this technology has actually significantly helped in that. And then it goes down to gradient, and then as you can see, it will work its way to the intended target. So let's say keratinocytes, for example, will be more on the surface. And then safety, look for the certificate of analysis. That's important. Here's a couple that I printed out from our analysis. It's really important that you ask for any product, that you ask to see that, especially for CBD products, so that there's no THC in there. And these are readily done by third-party testing. It's really important to have that quality, what type of manufacturing they have, is the CBD source organic? Is it from hemp? We use only hemp CBD. That's really important, that it's not from marijuana. So these are all important questions to keep it a consistent medical grade level. Yes.
What's organic CBD?
Organic means that it's grown on a farm and um, just from the plant source. Because you have to understand, like right now, there's also synthetic CBD out there, and it's really cheap. It's really cheap for these
Okay.
companies to buy synthetic CBD, which costs pennies, and not have to pay as much for the organic plant material. And
Okay, that's
yeah,
huge. That's
yeah,
huge.
yeah, it's huge. It's huge to understand that's
I mean,
out
I
there.
didn't know there was synthetic CBD.
Yeah, there is.
I thought
There's
it was
synthetic
all
CBD.
organic.
Yeah. So I have one slide on a product, but I wanted to highlight this. This is the outcome of all our research for 3 years, and we're really proud to have recently launched this at the American Academy of Dermatology. Thank you. We would have earlier, but COVID slowed things down, but it allowed us to actually optimize the formula, optimize some of the things. But the bottom line with Cano Cream, which is our first product, is it's 1% cannabidiol, which is at pretty much in the higher spectrum of any product out there right now with CBD. But what's more important is we've put all the technology that I talked about into this product with a lot of love as well. Because it was really important that we have something that actually works, that actually highlights what CBD can do if you can get it through the skin barrier. So it is medical grade. It has the nanotechnology in it. It is cosmetically elegant. Literally, you can use it on the face as well. It's very light. It disappears within 5 to 10 minutes. You don't get that oil residue because a lot of it is getting pushed inside the skin. We're the first company, as far as I know, that have tested it with dermatologists. And I believe we were one of the first companies in the US to actually even do human testing with CBD for skin conditions. We've, at this point, looked at 200 to 250 clinical cases by providing this to the dermatologist to test quality and so on. So now I'm going to show you a few of our clinical findings. So I'll just kind of zip through these. So we have a case of eczema, an elderly lady who also had itching as well. And as you can see on the baseline, she would have these little lesions over her eczema, and you could see by 2 weeks of using it, a lot of those lesions have healed and she was doing a lot better. Periorbital eczema actually is kind of tricky with steroids. It's hard to put that on the face, steroids on the face or around the eyes. So these were a couple good cases that because CBD is very safe on the face as well. None of those issues that we have to use or worry about with steroids. So the person on the left is actually a dermatologist herself, and she did a self-study, which was really nice to get it from her, and she was blown away that it knocked it out in 3 days. Hand eczema, so some of the these other conditions that are harder to treat, literally 5 days later. Here's actually a for a very fast pace, a pediatric patient, 15-year-old boy who plays basketball, I believe, and he gets this eruptive eczema, and his mom, who's a dermatologist, put it on just as a case study, and basically it disappeared by the next morning. Here's actually a really good case. This one we had. It was published in Derm Digest. So this lady had failed steroids and was looking for an alternative. Cano Cream was provided to her by her dermatologist, and miraculously knocked all the lesions from her face out in 5 days. But interesting enough, when she ran out of the bottle a month or so later, she was calling the doctor, and the doctor was calling us because she wanted more because the lesions started coming back in the same area. So that was pretty good evidence that monotherapy, this was having some impact on her eczema. Here's a case actually by Dr. David Pariser, a SebDerm case that he wanted to test out, and this was actually QD application. So baseline after 2 applications and after 4 applications, you can see the clearance. And he actually did this at his research center with nice images. Here's another case of GDerm with some of you may know this character, yeah, Dr. Dan Siegel, previous president of the Academy, actually, he uses it for his GDerm and loves it, especially when he's on the conference circuit. So here's a case of rosacea, atypical rosacea, another case where the patient was looking for an alternative to, I believe that was Metro and Oracea that she was using. And it was reported that 10 days later, 90% of the redness had resolved, and actually this patient stayed clear for close to 3 months. So this is actually interesting. This case came in recently. So now that the product's available, people are sending us some of the cases that they're seeing. So this was a mycosis fungoides case, which is, as you know, really hard to treat. And this lesion on the forehead had not resolved despite of the treatment protocol that the patient was under. So for that lesion alone, they provided the patient with a 1% nano CBD product, and apparently 60 days later, this is the after picture of monotherapy. So that's pretty exciting. One of the first cases ever performed. Now, what we're seeing significant results on is pruritus. So for itch, scratching, these kind of things, it seems to be helping quite or have some rapid response. So here's a case literally 30 minutes later with the dermatology nurse that applied it. So we have some data on itch. We're actually have another study underway right now, but thus far from this one study, out of 14 of the 15 patients responded positively. So that's quite exciting area to pursue for more studies. This is actually good. So some of your audience might really like this. So now a couple offices are starting to use it for post-laser type of procedures, so they're putting the 1% nano CBD product on after the laser procedure. So you could see here's a procedure post-clear and brilliant laser at baseline, and then literally 30 minutes later, when the patient's ready to walk out, and they don't look as red or inflamed. So it also seems to be reported that it helps their pain as well. So here's another case. This was done with the Opus RF laser. So as we are coming to the end of this talk, I wanted to point out that CBD sales continue to grow. I mean, this space is here to stay, and it's growing significantly fast. Actually, a rate of almost 32% per year is what's anticipated. And majority of sales right now are coming from online, from dispensaries and things like that. Only 5% of healthcare practitioners are selling CBD products, which is very small, but they're anticipating that number in the next few years to grow to 30%, because this is a massive market that is going to continue to grow in dermatology. And I think one of the issues possibly has been maybe doctors haven't had real trusted products yet to stand behind or have data behind, but that's something at Greenway that we're trying to get more data, do it by the science, and have it more representative of the standard dermatology products that we have out there. So so my question to the group is, will you take the CBD challenge? Will you try it with a few of your cases to see what you see? So we encourage you to try it. We encourage you to learn more about it. And now you're in the know, right? Back in the 80s, it was no, and now we just want to know. So that's it. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to provide this presentation. If anybody has any questions, if you like any of the studies that I talked about, I'll be happy to have my assistant send you the PDF copies of them, or if you'd like to get a sample of Cano Cream, we're happy to send you one, and for you to take the CBD challenge and start having another option in this space. And that's it, right on time.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we've got some questions.
Absolutely.
Well, one observation, it seems like this is really a product at the top of the toolbox for all of those things that we have a hard time treating. if people don't respond to the topicals. The GDerm, when I saw the GDerm, I'm like, oh my goodness, maybe keep hope alive. Um, when the rosacea, the pruritus, the eczema, it looked like the one woman, oh, here come a lot of questions. The one woman had factitial excoriations, yeah? Help work on those. So
yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, we didn't know what I mean, again, this is like, we're at the tip of the iceberg right now, and we're just, I mean, like I said, we're one of the first companies to even start doing human trials past the farm bill changing and being able to legally do that. So it's really exciting. And the biggest challenge, like I said, is almost everything out there right now, they have not put the resources in the technology to actually get the CBD in. Most of the products out there, no matter what they market it as and what they have on there, most of the CBD is staying on the surface of the skin and gets washed away. But if you actually can get the CBD through the skin, and we're just scratching the surface on this, no pun intended, we're because we'd like to go up on the concentrations and see what else we see, but it's a whole different pathway that is currently not even utilized. Your body has these receptors, and there's no product or drug that's actually working on them. So it's exciting, because in the future, I anticipate there will be multiple, even RX products and companies involved, as things on the regulatory side of this become more standardized.
Right. Great. Okay, this is from Jane. Hi, Jane. What are the indications for this Cano cream, is her question.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Like I said, there's something, and you saw that in that paper, and also based on our own observation, there's something like 200, 250 skin conditions alone that CBD could work for, right? Based on the data out there, based on the pathway. So we actually decided that it would be better for us not to come up with one indication. What we wanted to put the focus on is, here's your high quality medical grade CBD product. You decide what you want. You as the providers, or you decide what you want to recommend it for and use it on. So then it's not niched as, oh, just for eczema. And then because people are using it, I mean, on top of all the skin conditions, people are using this right now for pain as well. And we've had a lot of good feedback on that end as well. But if we just said, oh, this is for pain, then people may not feel comfortable using a pain cream for eczema. So we just want to provide people with your highest quality CBD, and then you decide what it works best
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Jane, great. Thanks for the question. This is a question about using liquid CBD products on skin.
Yeah, so most CBD products are liquid based, because the active actually is an oil, right? So you have to carboxylate the CBD with heat to activate it, and oftentimes that's done in oil. Majority of the products out there, 90-something% of them, are using MCT oil, which is coconut based, which is fine. But a lot of times, so that's, I assume that's what you mean by liquid, is the oil, right? And that's like I said, that's fine. That's where the active is in. But the problem with that, again, is you're putting a very lipophilic molecule in oil droplets, big oil droplets on top of the skin. So the challenge for that is absorption. Now, we're talking about the skin, right? Now, for ingestion, when people ingest oil, it's a different pathway. It does also lose a lot of its bioavailability through the GI tract and so on, but that's a whole different topic. But for the skin oils, I mean, they're fine. That's where most of the technology is at. But this is, we wanted to take that to the next level with the nanotechnology.
Okay, great. Oh, can I get this product to Canada? That's a question.
We are working on that, but I don't see an issue why that would be the case. We actually extend our patents to Canada as well, and Europe as well. So those are going to be future markets. So yeah, you can contact us directly on that. info@Greenway Therapeutics.
I will.
Go ahead. Was someone going to say something? Tantania wants to know, can this product be used for hair restoration?
That's a really good question, actually. We've had several people approach us about that, and my suspicions are yes, right? But then again, I'm a scientist, so I always go with the data. This is an area we don't have any data in yet. We haven't had any testing, but we anticipate as this product becomes available in the US and people will start using it for different things. Definitely, one area we thought about is scalp psoriasis and eczema and things like that. But hair is um, it's a good target because the endocannabinoid receptors are on the hair follicle. So that's been shown that we actually have the receptors on the hair follicle. So this is an opportunity for future development.
And then I don't know who this is, but I understand why you would want to ask for samples. They asked, would you give us some samples to try? That was a question.
Yes, absolutely. If you guys want to email us at info@Greenway Therapeutics, please provide your address and we'll be happy to ship you some samples to try out and take the CBD challenge, right? So our goal right now is to provide you with a medical grade CBD product so you could actually see what we're seeing for yourselves.
Even for Canada, even for the Canadian, for Canada as well,
Can you
for
repeat?
Canada as well, the samples.
Yeah, we have looked into this and we have to clarify this, make sure there's no regulatory issue because that's obviously we're everything by the book. But if there's no issues on that end, then we'll be happy to ship to Canada as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Last question. The product has, this is from Joanne, I believe. The product has 100 milligrams of CBD in the total container. How much?
No.
How much is per pump? So
yeah, no. So the product has 300 milligrams of CBD in the container, and each pump puts out about 2 to 3 milligrams of CBD. So, and you can use it for about 140 pumps, based on what I understand. So it's 30 mLs. The container is 30 mLs and 1 ounce, and it has so since 1%, so it has 300 milligrams of CBD, which is actually on the for this size, it's on one of the highest spectrums of CBD. But that's not to mention that we're getting potentially 5 times as much in. So you're getting, I mean, the goal is to get all the CBD in ultimately, right? You don't want to leave any on the skin. But yeah, it's only, let's say 3-4 milligrams per pump.
Great. And then on the dosing, like how much? Okay, so 1 pump gets you about 2 to 3 milligrams. And then how often can the patient apply that?
We on the bottle we have BID, but there people have tested it PID or PRN. Since there's thus far we have out of the 200 plus cases that we've tested, we have not had a single adverse event. And actually, I want to clarify this. If you ever get an adverse event with CBD, most likely it wasn't the CBD. It was probably the vehicle or something, from one of the other products. So that's something to look out for. But based on what we've seen, there are no limits on that. It just depends what it's doing for them. If they have itch, for example, and it's giving them relief, then they put it on when they need it. Now, for our standardization, we have used it BID or TID based on whatever the condition is, how severe it is.
Great. Well, thank you. And the email is in the chat. Thank you, Pat. He put Greenway Therapeutic email. So just check the chat and it's there.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great. Okay, we're moving right along. We'll take our next speaker. It's a pleasure to introduce her. Ms. Yetunde Butler is an MBA. She's the founder and president of Esansi. Yetunde grew up in Berkeley, California. Her father, Henry Ramsey Jr., was a civil rights advocate who was a judge, dean, and law professor, and an early mentor of Vice President Kamala Harris. Her parents set a high bar for her, instilled a sense of excellence in whatever she set her mind to do. So she went off on a lofty goal and created her innovative skincare brand, Essensi. She's founder and president. She's created a vision and led the product development with a leading R&D lab in France to create the first organic, science-based prestige skincare. Yetunde represents dual cultures, both French and American, and has launched several successful ventures. She holds a BA in French and political science from Williams College, an MBA from the Grande École de Commerce, and an MBA in sustainable management from Presidio Graduate School. It's a pleasure to have you, Yetunde. Can't wait to hear what you say, and welcome to GDerm Fresh.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to this. I hope I'm going to be on par because I'm on European time. It's 2 a.m. So hopefully I'll be clear and concise this morning for me. Well, I guess early morning for me, early evening for you.
Well, we applaud you for being up to the challenge of this time zone, and we're happy to have you.
Happy to be here.
You.
Merci. So first, I'm going to share our brand video before I share with you our PowerPoint. It's about taking breath and enjoying where you are now and wherever you are in regards to your skin, your life. With Essensi, I want to help you have the best possible skin. We need to embrace our beauty the way we are.
We don't fully understand how nature really works, but we do know that nature creates some really powerful ingredients that are really good for our skin and really good for our bodies. Essensi is a way of working with nature. It's being collaborative and using what nature can provide. It's taking the simple idea, taking something from the ground and from the seed and bringing it all the way into your hand so you can put it on your skin. And to me, when we're talking about Essensi, we're talking about bringing that essence from nature. It's the essence of nature that we want to bring to you.
We're talking about the essence of things, the essence of life, the essence of plants. So Essensi is from a provincial word because we are a French brand. Therefore, it's essential to have every aspect of our products made in France with the traditional French savoir-faire. So that's what Essensi means. With Essensi, I wanted to create a product that would be healthy for a woman to put on her skin. Most women are putting on skincare products in the morning and in the night, and a lot of them have the synthetic and toxic chemicals in them. So I wanted to create the same experience of luxury, but with products that are both healthy and provide a full sensorial experience. It's about the complete experience for the woman. My skincare based on aromatherapy is created to not only awaken your sense of smell and touch, but also to nourish and hydrate your skin. So it is an idea of balance, calmness, renewal. And we achieved this through our composés, a unique blend of essential oils that we have in all of our products. We want you to feel confident that everything you put on your skin is healthy, organic, and good for the planet, which is why we are extremely selective with the producers of our ingredients.
Jean-Martin, parle-moi un peu de tes terres.
Alors en fait, c'est une terre vierge qui n'a jamais été cultivée auparavant, qu'on a démaquisée pour pouvoir y mettre en culture les immortelles qu'on a ici. Vous pouvez voir, c'est la pleine floraison là. Et c'est à cette époque qu'on la coupe pour y faire l'huile essentielle. L'immortelle de Corse est plus qualitative que les immortelles qui peuvent se faire autre part. Ce sont des terres où l'immortelle pousse à l'état spontané, donc à l'état sauvage. C'est la propriété du sol qui est particulière et qui donne une qualité d'huile essentielle supérieure aux autres huiles essentielles.
Quand vous faites la culture, vos façons de faire la culture des mortels, est-ce que vous utilisez de l'eau ou c'est quoi votre façon de faire?
Non, il n'y a pas d'irrigation, pas d'amendement, en fait c'est 100% naturel. Aucun produit chimique, aucun amendement, rien du tout.
Donc c'est organique.
Organique.
Essensi, you know, one of our key components or philosophies, people and planet.
We have our packaging and also our formulations and ingredients. Our ingredients, we support these local farmers. And for the vessels that our skincare is in, we chose porcelain because it's better for the ocean and better for the environment. Because we want to be as sustainable as possible.
And that is a drive of everything that we do at Essensi.
It's about creating a relationship with people that touch your product all along the journey. As you feel our creams touching your skin, remembering that journey and the people that planted the seeds, the people that picked the flowers, the people that make the porcelain jars. How you touch people is really important to us. And part of being a responsible business is making sure that's a positive touch for everyone. So to me, like, that's how sustainability kind of fits in with Essensi. It's kind of a philosophy of really creating those relationships. It's connecting people to nature and connecting people to people.
When people are authentic and where they're genuine, and when you have a brand that's authentic, that people feel it and they trust it.
And so I think that you should be able to feel that we are authentic and that we are committed to your physical and emotional well-being.
We're here to support you to be who you are and who you want to be. But what's really important is that you are comfortable with yourself and that you can be your authentic self. Because if you are your authentic self, then the world will see your beauty.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed our video, and I hope to, during this talk, to take you along the Essensi journey and to show you how we came from this brand that you saw in the video, which took place in all along France, but the fields were in Corsica, France. We filmed it during COVID, to the cosmeceutical brand that we are today. I'm going to share with you my PowerPoint, so please bear with me. And once again, hopefully I will be clear and concise. So give me 1 second. Actually, let me put this, oh wait, share. Okay.
So maybe while you're getting that up, I just wanted to thank two of our attendees, Dr. Eva Simmons O'Brien and Dr. Diana Orlinsky, who texted me and said that we have someone who we really want you to meet, and I think that and that was Yetunde. And the power of networking and just being in a community leads to wonderful things like this. So thank you both and welcome again.
Thank you. So, and later, Dr. Simmons O'Brien and Dr. Linsky will talk to you more about how they've been using our products in their clinic as well. So thank you for joining us this evening. Can you see my PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So this presentation, I'm going to try to take you through the journey of Essensi. And one of the key components of Essensi is we have these pillars of, we believe that we are the next generation of luxury, science-based formulation, our Mediterranean garden. Obviously, you saw a bit of our Mediterranean garden in the film. When I started out and wanted to create this the skincare brand, I wanted to be the first luxury sustainable aromatherapeutic skincare brand that was out there. And I wanted it to be truly sustainable from my ingredients to my formulation, to my packaging, to the end user, which is why in that video, you saw kind of the journey from the beginning to the end. And for me, it was important outside of creating this experience because I wanted to kind of create initially I'll say the Hermes of skincare, I wanted it to also be, and I was living in France, to be made in France, and in particular because as we know, France, and I'll get into that a little bit later when I talk about the formulations, but France is known for their expertise in skincare formulations, and the European Union in general, because they have very strict and rigorous regulations. My approach to creating the brand, which you'll learn through this journey with me tonight, was very thought out, meticulous, and systematic. What was key for me with luxury was that I knew from the get-go was I wanted sustainability and craftsmanship to be incorporated into everything we do. And I wanted to create highly effective, luxurious skincare products that also were aromatherapeutic. And I wanted to push, I will probably would say with the formulations as in the packaging, I wanted to push the limits on everything to be as innovative as we possibly could, but also doing it in a simplified version, if you will. And I wanted to, with the packaging, going back to sustainability and craftsmanship, I wanted to work with artisanal craftsmanship and the French savoir-faire. And what was really key was to use as little plastic as possible, because I believe in the today plastic is, unfortunately, it's a great material, but it is not very sustainable for the planet. And so the idea is, I hope that we will eventually find replacement for it. Today you're forced to use a little bit of it, but for me it was to use as little as possible, which is why I chose porcelain, which is why my products are in glass and not plastic or bioplastic. So let me move on to the next slide. So one of the questions that I've been asked is by doctors and other folks is, Yetunde, one of the questions is how did you go about creating this effective formulation? How did you create these Scentsy products that we have today? Well, I tell them that, my approach was slightly different. The journey started where, as I told you before, I had this idea of creating this sustainable skincare that I wanted to be effective. In another lifetime, I had worked for brands like L'Occitane en Provence, Borghese, and I had sold products. So I'd sold the luxury retail products. So I knew that the initial experience was very important for a product. When you're dealing with, at least in the luxury retail, you're dealing with the clients want this luxurious experience. But also I saw that there was a lack in the fact that a lot of the products, when you first put them on, they felt great, they went on well, your skin felt comfortable, but then 3-4 hours later, your skin, at least for me, my skin would feel tight. All the lovely experience that I had around it kind of dissipated. And so for me, it was really important to create a product that was long lasting and effective. So in going about that, I met a man who happened to be the head of the R&D for the Research Institute for Natural Ingredients for LVMH. And I spoke with him about what I wanted to do. And I was actually coming to him to find out if he could put me in the direction of a formulator, because in general in the industry, a lot of times folks will go to a company and say, I want this kind of product, and they'll either pre-make it or they'll say, they'll work with a company to create a formulation. But a lot of times people pre-buy, or they say what kind of active ingredients they want, what kind of effects. And he said to me, Yetunde, what you really need to do, because at the time I was dabbling in aromatherapy and I created formulations, he said, you need to start with your own formulations. So in the end, I started with my own formulations that were aromatherapeutic. And he told me, you need to take your formulations, because in the world of skincare, a lot of the formulations, they all resemble each other. So he told me to take my formulations and he put me in the direction of a leading R&D lab, where the actual formulator in a previous lifetime had created formulations for pharmaceutical industry. So I worked with her, and I had where my formulations were the basis, and I had certain criteria. One was for me, obviously, the way I had created my formulations was it was about not one active ingredient, but having a synthesis of active ingredients that together created this potent product. So that was one. Two was I wanted, as I stated before, 100% organic. So I wanted 100% natural. I wanted organic botanical ingredients. I wanted zero synthetic ingredients. I wanted ingredients that I could eventually grow in France. And so we embarked on this, and in doing this, what happened was when we created, we kind of had our pre-formulation, final formulation, and then I began to, for about 2 years, to test it on for a panel of folks to test the product, both my creams and my elixir, because as I stated to you before, it was about efficacy, but it was also about the experience. And the experience is, you know, as my elixir is oil-based. Does it absorb quickly? How does your skin feel the next day? How does it, when you put on at night, how does it feel the next morning? How does your skin feel? How does makeup go on? So the idea was to really hone in on the experience. Does your skin feel sticky? So we did that for 2 years, and we created these fabulous products where, in fact, with these with effective formulation that because it was made in France, they had to go through the strict regulations of the EU, and also they're certified by EcoCert, which is one of the most is the most prestigious third-party auditor in Europe. So both my ingredients and my formulations had to go through it, and we were able to create these great formulations where, as you can see in the slide, I state that a little goes a long way. You don't need a lot of my product for it to be effective. I just want to share the slide with you because I verbally told you my approach to the creation of my skincare products, but this gives you an overview of, to the left, how typically it's done in the industry, and to the right, how I created, which was this kind of integrated process. And one thing that's really key to understand with our products is that with this, what they call cahier des charges, what was key was having the purest, highest quality of ingredients. That was the key driver. Also, as I told you, the formulation is eco-certified and has to go through a regulatory process, but also the ingredients. You can't just put a product on the market. You have to go through a toxicologist. It's a very strenuous process. So now let's get into my collection, the regenerative collection. So I have, Essensi has the Renuvella and Immortella. Today, my Renuvella, which we'll talk about in a little bit, are my creams, and my Immortella is my elixir and my oil-based products. They share a lot of the, as we call the Mediterranean garden. There's a lot of ingredients that intersect. That's the complexity of the products. And they help to soften the texture of your skin. They're deeply nourishing, and they treat a lot of skin irritations and skin imperfections. So let's go to my hero product, which is the Immortelle Elixir for the complete face and neck. The interesting story for this one is, and then I will go into the description of the products, is initially, as I stated, I think I stated that I had originally intended to go into the retail world. And what happened was I befriended the wife of a very well-known plastic surgeon here in Paris called Dr. Patrick Tredevic. And we were talking about post-treatment. And she was saying how in the cosmeceutical world, or at least in when you're doing post-treatment in France, they treat the inflammation after the injections with Immortelle. And when she said that to me, she said, aha, Immortelle is in my elixir and a whole bunch of other cool ingredients. And so from there, I gave her samples, and another colleague of theirs also tried the elixir post-treatment, and they had great results. And from there, I kind of tumbled into the cosmeceutical world and began to speak with and work with doctors. So that's kind of an antidote. But we currently have 2 formats that we're selling, which is our Elixir Immortelle, which is a 30 ml. It is in the Bordeaux porcelain that you saw in the video. What you can't see is on the back side of it You have a motif of the immortelle that was done by a local artist. The idea of this vessel is to create a spa-like experience. Our life is so busy, we're running, we're doing 20 million things that we never have a time to pause. So the kind of objective of this particular vessel that was designed internally was to create something beautiful, sustainable, but that would kind of have us pause for a second so we could bring the spa into our own home. The second product, the second format is our roll-on. The roll-on is our nomadic roll-on. It can be taken wherever you go. It's great under your eyes, on your lips, for your face. Another great aspect of the roll-on is men. Our products are not just for women, for men as well, and it's great for after shaving. And I like whenever men are looking for, whenever I'm talking to them about the elixir, I always talk to them about this nomadic format because it's easy, functional. And we have our Immortella 30 ml that will be kind of more simplified version, which will be a dropper, and that will be available later this year. So now I'm going to go into the essence of Immortelle. So the essence is you've got hydration, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, skin repair, microcirculation, which is the side which makes it great for your everyday skincare routine, but also post-treatment. The part that makes it great, just incorporating your everyday skincare routine, is the texture. You know, a lot of oil-based products, which this is, can clog your pores, which this doesn't, and can have kind of a sticky texture, a scent that is very, we say in French, brut, or very earthy. This has a very light, sophisticated, delicate scent that I would say is even addictive. There's a cloudiness to it, which comes from the beeswax, and obviously what makes the kicker of our products is aromatherapeutic. So not only is it effective on your skin, but also you have the aromatherapeutic aspect of it. This is, I just wanted to share with you, this is a before and after that was taken by one of the clinics after 10 minutes of the elixir on the skin. So now I'm going to talk to you briefly about some interesting ingredients. Like I said, with Essensi, it's not about one key active ingredient. That's really key to kind of take home with you. It's about the synergy of our ingredients. So I picked a few ingredients that I thought were interesting, but they're not the most important. So you have Immortelle, which you saw in the video, you heard about it. It's obviously great because it's known for its anti-aging virtues. And also our Immortelle is wild and it's great for microcirculation, UV protection, anti-inflammatory. Forgot to tell you that with elixir, it's great as well for when people get sunburned, or your skin is, when you have sunburn and you put it, it helps to soothe it as well. It has wild carrot, which is also an antioxidant, microcirculation, UV protection. It's rich, it's helps antibacterial, anti-inflammatory. It helps to reduce wrinkles, spots. It gives the skin a firmer, more radiant appearance. And aromatherapy, it helps reduce anxiety and fatigue. And you have, excuse me, no, that's my geranium. A wild carrot, it helps to, yes, fatigue and anxiety, and it's grounding. Geranium does the same thing where it helps reduce anxiety and fatigue. It's also an antioxidant, it's anti-inflammatory, and it helps with the eczema, psoriasis, itching, acne, wound healing. It evens out the skin tone. With their products, with the elixir, a lot of times people will have a glow. I've had other patients and people that have used it have said after a few days that they've had an irritation on the skin, it's disappeared. So interesting botanical pressed oils. Our oils are first pressed, cold pressed, which is the most potent. It's the most, as you guys, I'm sure you guys know of first cold pressed olive oil. So we have pumpkin, which is an antioxidant, and it's very nourishing and fights against free radicals. You have plum, hydrating, hyperpigmentation. It also improves the elasticity of the skin. You have milk thistle. I always like to talk about milk thistle because milk thistle is also silymarin, which is also found in cosmeceutical silymarin product, which is a very popular one in the cosmeceutical industry, skinceuticals, and where they use the extract. And this is actually the botanical oil. So, and why milk thistle is interesting is it helps to regenerate the skin, and it's an antioxidant, and it's also great for redness due to sensitivity. and skin suffering from chronic inflammatory disorders. And it also helps to clear and purify the skin. The last ingredient that I will talk to when we're talking about the Immortella Elixir is the Camellia seed. Camellia seed, as you see up here, antioxidant. It's also hydrating, anti-inflammatory. It maintains soft and smooth skin, and also has benefits that help to reduce scarring and creates a feeling of comfort for the skin.
And
So now
you have about 5 more minutes where we're starting to run way behind, just so you know.
Okay, so I'm gonna go quick. Thank you for telling me.
You're welcome.
We have our Renewal creams. We have 3 types: the rich, extra rich, and normal, rich and extra rich. You have it in our glass and our porcelain. I'm going to go through quickly. It's very hydrating, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, detox, microcirculation. The texture for me, with these products, it's about what does your skin need. You know, if someone's traveling all the time, you may, and you're going one period in a hot place, one period in a cold, you may go from the rich to the light, but it's about hydrating the skin, but the texture is based upon what your skin needs. If it's where I am, where in the winter it's very cold, extra rich. Summer, I may go for La Crème. Very refreshing, aromatherapeutic as well. I'm not gonna go into details here because I only have a few minutes left, but you have essential oils, which are rosemary, which are the aromatherapy is helping to restore your psychological balance, stimulates memory. You have chamomile, which is calming, relaxing, helps to reduce anxiety. Lavender, helping to reduce anxiety, fatigue, calms and soothes. It's also an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. With the botanical fixed oils, you have hazelnut, which is used a lot in the skincare industry. Calendula, which has been macerated in olive oil. Maceration is when it steeps, like if you guys ever did sun tea when you were kids. And borage and evening primrose. Also with our products, you have the other interesting aspect in the creams is I also have aloe vera, which is, which I'm sure you know, is known for its moisturizing, healing, and sun protector, and honey, which serves as a humectant and it's hydrating and antibacterial. I didn't go into details because I don't know how many minutes I have left. In the pipeline, we have, as you saw earlier, we're going to have our 30 ml. We're going to have the elixir for the hair and body. We're going to have it kind of travel size creams, and we're coming out with our vitamin supplements. Key thing I want to talk about vitamin supplements is that once again, it's highly regulated in the EU. So I think that's a cool thing for products. And so we're going to be creating vitamin supplements, skin supplements to boost our products that are antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, which obviously goes hand in hand. And then at a later date, we will be coming out with hydrating masks and cleansers. And that's it. And now I'm going to let Dr. Simmons O'Brien and Dr. Diane Orlinsky talk to you how they've been using the product in their clinic for post-treatment. So take it away, as they say.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Yatandi. Like, your video was just beautiful. I kind of felt like I was on vacation for
Me too. For a moment.
It was lovely. Diane and I met Yatandi fortuitously at a conference in Nashville in December. I think it was our first outing, right, Diane, since COVID?
Yes.
And we were just taken immediately with the whole concept of the product and the product itself, and to hear our colleague, Dr. Erin Gilbert, talk about it, and then to know that our BFF, Dr. Vivian Bukai, GDerm faculty, already had it in her office and was loving it and using it. And we said, well, my God, we need to investigate this. And
okay, but wait a minute. Wait, I actually said, oh no, I can't use it. I'm allergic to lavender.
Yes, of course you did.
Of course I did. And Dr. Gilbert said, oh no, but so am I. You have to try it. And I said, I don't really need another skincare product. I mean, I need an oil like I need a hole in the head, right? But she said, you have to try it. Go on.
Yeah. So we did. We did that, and that gave a little sample. We got a little sample from Michael, Yetunde's husband. We spoke with her, we tried it, and the very next day we were back at her booth saying,
That's right.
this is something very special. You know, it when we cleansed our face that night in our hotel room, that's the only thing that we put on. I figured Diane would wake up like, you know, patchy Heidi face. And, you know, I was expecting the worst. And, and she woke up and her skin was glowing. It was gorgeous. I didn't have a problem, and it was well hydrated. And, you know, I said, let's really check this out. So long story short, we took a plunge and found out more about it and decided to purchase some and give it to, you know, our patients to try, kind of as a thank you holiday gifts for some of them. And they all loved it. And, you know, some of them were like, oh my God, I need more. You know, it was almost like it was like an addiction, like Yetunde said. So you get the aromatherapy, but you get the benefit from it. And I can honestly say my very sensitive skin patients with rosacea, eczema, and even those that don't have that, it is very well tolerated. So we started using it after procedures. I've used it after XLV Genesis by Cutera. I've used it after our Dermavive from Lutronic. And 2 weeks ago, I took the deep plunge and used it immediately after Genius radiofrequency microneedling. And, you know, if you can use something on the face after that, and it's well tolerated, then that really does say something, because I do believe the organic nature of the product, the pressed oils, the standards that Europe has for these things that we don't have here in the United States, I think really does make a difference. So the anti-inflammatory properties are remarkable. I also find that, you know, and the antimicrobial properties also make a difference. It also plays well in the schoolyard with all of your other products. It's nothing that if you just use this exclusively, you don't have to. You can still layer your favorite products either underneath or over top. When you say,
Also,
Diane?
Yeah, I gave it to a lot of my rosacea patients, and you know, they were like, "Oh, I don't really like oils." I said, "You got to try this one." And every single person has come back and bought it. And these are like the most sensitive patients that I have. The other thing is, you know, when you put a product on, you kind of sometimes you might say, "Well, what is this doing for my skin?" Like, I mean, you keep reading like, "Okay, so it's really what is it doing? Is it supposed to do this? It's supposed to do that?" And when you put Essentially on, and I sound like an infomercial, but when you put it on, your skin really does all of a sudden relax, and it feels so luxurious, and your skin like drinks it in, and you feel calmer. And I'm sure part of it is the aromatherapy, but I think it's also the purity of all of the foods and flowers that go into this product. But you literally put it on and you go, ah. So there aren't very many things that you can say that about.
And you can use it right underneath the eyes, underneath the lash line. You can use it underneath the eyebrow. You really can get it around the eye area, which I think is remarkable. And it helps to really, and it soaks into the skin. So yes, it's an oil, but it's really an essence of that. It seems to hydrate and plump. There really isn't residue left over on the skin. I you know, promise
we're not
you.
oil
And,
people, you know.
yeah, and a little goes a long
sure.
way. Yeah.
I still have the sample that you gave us.
No, I mean,
I'm very frugal.
Yes. No, I know, but I mean, I think that a lot of people have had that same experience. And with the cream, I know, like when I use it with my cream, I used to put like a cute, which I'll take my slides to the creams, but I used to use a whole bunch. And when I've spoken to people, they've said, well, two things. When I've spoken to them, I've said, you know, when you use your creams, how are you using your normal creams? And they say they put a huge amount on their skin. And when they've done mine, they've done a little bit. And the other thing I said to a woman the other day, she's like, I've got this great cream. It's like fabulous. And I said, well, I want you to think about, when you take my samples, I want you to think about how, with the cream that you're using, how your skin feels the next day, and then use my creams. And she said to me, when she came back, she's like, you know, Yetunde, that was really good cream. She said, I when I put the cream on that I normally use, I thought about, which I'd never, because people don't usually think about that. They think about when they first put it on, right? So she's like, I thought about it. And she said, the next day, my skin felt tight. And she was saying how when she put mine on, and every time I do it myself, I'm always kind of in shock. You put a little bit on your finger and it just spreads everywhere. And it feels super hydrating, and you can use it everywhere. And I think with both formulations, we were able to create this product that's not only effective, that has an amazing experiential experience to it, but also you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of the creams, and you don't need a lot of the serum.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. This is certainly going to be continued at the live meeting, because you can see we have a lot of interest. There's a lot of questions. And I agree, the video was amazing, Yatunde. It was just very well done. So thank you so much for coming on. Love the feedback, Eva and Diane. I think that's, and you know, Diane, this is what it's about. Never an infomercial, because we're here to bring it. And, you know, by just who we are, our experiences matter to people. And, you know, so I so appreciate your feedback and your passion about the product, because that definitely made me take a look at the product, and I'm very excited about it. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So our next speaker, it's such a pleasure to introduce our next speaker. And she is just an amazing, amazing lady who has been in our space for over 20 years. And I think the thing about Jody is that as an MBA, and I'm sorry, Jody, I didn't put the MBA on, as an MBA and an esthetician, she has this knowledge of skin and products and business, and basically things that we dermatologists, we need to know, because we could use a lot of help in all those areas. So she's the Director of Commercial Development and Strategic Communication at Illumier MD. So Illumier MD has brighter ideas in skin science, but they are also a very socially conscious company. And that is something that really touches at my heart, the things that they do. And I'm so glad that you're here today to talk about your kicking cosmeceutical line. And I would love to hear about it all. Welcome, Jody.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Wendy. And before I go any further, I just want to shout out to my friend Yatunde. I don't know if you remember us meeting at the Science of Skincare Summit. You gave me this exquisite handmade silk bag, and I keep it. It's at my desk, and I think of you and the energy that you shared with me at that meeting. Your mission is just really beautiful, and I got a little emotional watching your videos. So I was so excited to see your name pop up. And please tell Michael I said hello and your precious son. So
yes.
Anyway, I don't want to take up too much time.
I'm glad you're using that. I'm glad you're using that. That was a lot of love into that.
I know, and it means so much to me. So thank you. And it really is an honor to be here with both you, with Michael, because we're all working towards a better world in skincare. And it's not just about a better world in skincare, but it's just a better world in general. And so I was so motivated by hearing your story, by hearing more about what Michael's doing. You guys are some of the most forward-thinking minds in our industry. And it truly is. I'm humbled and honored to be sitting alongside you guys tonight to talk about what Illumier MD is doing with regards to clean science, but also corrective skincare. So I will share my screen. And here we go. Let's see, there we are. All right, so Illumier comes from the word illuminate. And when I first was introduced to this company, one of my favorite things to put as an email signature is, when you know the way, light the path for others. And so it's about this generous sharing of knowledge. And Dr. Wendy Roberts has been a mentor of mine for many, many years in this industry. And she is definitely one of those illuminators for me. So it was just a natural progression for me to come to work for this company, not only for this, but for their mission in general. But Illumier MD does come from the word illuminate, which is to make clear or bright. And when it comes to skin, Illumier MD was really born out of that understanding that everyone wants bright, clear, beautiful skin. So it also means, as I said, to enlighten or share knowledge. So we have assembled quite a group of experts in our field, both globally, to create a skincare brand that is made from the highest medical grade ingredients, formulated to the EU standards. So Yetunde was talking about how important that is, and we are absolutely on the same page there. But most importantly, it's also driving those transformative results. So we were born more than just about great skincare. It was about 3 core values. First, about corrective formulas. So our proven actives are carefully chosen and formulated at optimal, clinically validated levels. And these therapeutic concentrations drive transformative results on various skin conditions and concerns. So this inclusive portfolio that we bring to you of our professional and home care products will suit all skin types and all skin preferences. Our second core value is the commitment to your business. And we're not going to talk about this today, but Wendy, if you do another GDerm, and I know at GDerm this fall, we'll definitely be able to talk about our commitment to the business and anti-diversion, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. But it's something we're very passionate about. We have a proprietary anti-diversion system and a specialized e-commerce platform that will protect your business from online diversion sales, but will also provide your clients the ease and convenience of home delivery, ultimately resulting in ideal patient outcomes because you're staying connected to your patient and you're not losing them to online sales. And then finally, and what we're here to talk about today is clean science. Our products are formulated with an approach to clean science that's free from phthalates, parabens, sulfates, dyes, and artificial fragrances. We're sourcing our ingredients from sustainable and ethical suppliers across the globe, and we're striving to make sure that our products are the cleanest available to you. As I said, clinically proven ingredients, optimal therapeutic concentrations driving transformation in the skin, favorable textures. Yetunde, I feel like we're on the same page here. It's all about, are you putting the right concentration of the right ingredients combined to provide that correction, but is it in a formulation that patients will actually enjoy using? Are those textures right? Are you going to have patient compliance? Because without compliance, you're not going to get those results. So we're looking at the use of gold standard ingredients that are really backed by clinical science, including oleopeptide 10, matrixyl synth 6. We're using peptides. I'll get ahead of myself, but Dr. Carl Littner is our chief formulating head with our medical committee, and he is the father of peptides in skincare. So we really have this wealth of knowledge, experience, and clinical proof behind our products using advanced delivery system, which allows for the enhancement of penetration and also the stabilization of vulnerable ingredients. On top of all of that, we've gotten lots of global recognition and award-winning formulations. So our hero product is our Illumier Everactive C and E plus peptide. And the proof really is in the winning and in the science. And this product has been an award-winning Illumier MD Hero. We were named Best Wrinkle Treatment of 2020 for in Beauty for All Fashion Awards of 2020. But really it goes beyond that. And I want to talk just a little bit about the clinical science behind our vitamin C. So we strategically chose to clinically validate one of our most innovative products to date, which is our Everactive C and E plus peptide. And this is one of our top selling products, and it truly defines innovation by defying the rate of oxidation and enabling physicians an opportunity to recommend the freshest dose of vitamin C for their patients to use daily. So after this, there's going to be a little video that shows how we do that. But our formula features 15% L-ascorbic acid, which is suspended in an airtight chamber, and then it's released into a base of tocopherol acetate and matrixyl synth 6 peptide. And when your patient's ready to activate it, they do so. So it's not a pre-mixed batch. So you've got a product that's going to be stable, and you're going to be getting 100% of those active ingredients. But more importantly, there's not a lot of other ingredients in there that are needed for the stabilization or the preservation of this formulation. So you're getting the purest formulation and the highest rate of safety and stability. So we did complete a full comprehensive clinical study, which was spearheaded by Dr. Littner, who's our chief director of our scientific committee, and Dr. Solish and Dr. Gerstein. So these are also two of our medical consultants. from a high level results perspective, our study is available on our website, but if you would like to get the full study or talk more to me about it, you can email me. It's jnightingale@illumierelabs.com. So the open label study was 35 subjects tested Fitzpatrick 1 through 3, mean age was 65, and all presented with visible signs of photoaging. The results of the study were measured leveraging different devices and methods. So we used the Primos 3D light, which enables a microscopic view of the surface of the skin using fringe projection. It also gives us insight into wrinkle depth and volume, texture, homogeneity, substantiating an increase in isotopy. So what's important about this, before I go further into the study, is it has been well established that L-ascorbic acid needs to be 15% L-ascorbic acid at an acidic pH. It needs to be in a stabilized formulation. So rather than re-establishing or studying what we already know to be true, we took it a step further by really looking at the anti-aging benefit of L-ascorbic acid. So by doing this, we also leverage the Vizia skin analysis system, as well as self-assessment scores to prove patient satisfaction. The first of our results focused on wrinkle reduction over a 56-day period. And through fringe projection and gradient details of the skin surface, we were able to prove a clear and defined reduction illustrated by the representations of color-coded depths. And if you look at the pictures on the top of the slide, we're looking at yellow indicates shallow or superficial, blue represents deep, and green is somewhere around the middle in there. And then second, we measured isotropy, or again, skin homogeneity. And when you visualize a youthful skin with perfectly even skin surface, this is known as isotropy. So with this, we have complete homogeneity, meaning light reflects more evenly on the skin, which improves radiance. And it also minimizes the cast of shadows that make the skin feel more visibly aged or further defines wrinkles. On the other hand, an aging skin will commonly reveal directionally dependent lines due to the breakdown of collagen and elastin fibers, which then highlights the hills and valleys superficially. So this we call anisotropy, and it disrupts skin homogeneity, and it also increases the visible signs of aging. So that what we found in our study was within 28 days of use, there was a significant improvement in isotropy, which unveiled a smoother, more even complexion. And you can see that in this short period, we see an increase in isotropy in support of a more structured and balanced extracellular matrix. Each volunteer used Everactive C and E+ peptide once in the morning with the use of a basic cleanser and a basic moisturizer. And in addition to this, we were also able to prove a reduction in red and brown tones in the skin, which was supported by the Vizia skin analysis system. Reducing redness in the skin with daily use vitamin C is an industry first in what we've seen with regards to clinical studies, and ultimately increases the versatility of this potent treatment serum. And all of these results were achieved within a full 56-day period. So I'm going to show you a little video on how we achieve this with our unique vitamin C. So here she's activating the vitamin C. Those crystals are housed in the chamber. And when the top is depressed, those crystals are released down into the solution of the vitamin E and peptide. You have to shake it. And you can see in the video, the chamber holds the L-ascorbic acid crystals, and that the depression of this custom molded cap allows for those crystals to be released by puncturing the cap. And then you replace it with your dropper, and you've got clear, pure L-ascorbic acid with vitamin E and peptide. I love the smile on your face when you're like, I love this. Right? Very impressive. So we can talk about that. In addition to our vitamin C and our unique delivery of vitamin C, we have a full home care portfolio, everything from cleanse and exfoliate, your essentials, targeting concerns, moisturize, and then specialize. And in addition to that, we've got a whole host of sunscreens, and all of our sunscreens are all physical filters. And we've got everything from hydrating sunscreens to our moisture mat, which we've got 3 different self-adjusting tones for our moisture mat. They're all very cosmetically elegant and have been tested on Fitzpatrick's 1 through 5. And we see that even with our darker skin tones, we get a really nice cosmetically elegant application and nice color on the skin. In addition to that, we've got a full back bar. We're not here to talk about back bar, and I don't want to spend too much time here, but we really do have everything you need to support front to back. And when we talk about clean science and being able to provide these really valid formulations with the right combination of active ingredients, we have pure acid AHAs, BHAs, enzymatic peels. We've got vitamin and brightening peptide infusions. We even have post-peel boosters, retinols and BHAs. And in addition to that, we have our post-procedure kits, and we offer those with or without hydrocortisone for post-recovery. And then we've just launched our Prep and Enhance kits. We have a full regimen for preparing for procedures to really optimize those procedures and optimize the outcomes, with a choice of Prep and Enhance for discoloration or Prep and Enhance for rejuvenating skin. And all of this is really fully customizable and provides you everything you need for your patients from front to back. So clean science, this is really what we're here to talk about today. And as you know, the group of innovators that Wendy has assembled, Illumier is really proud to be leading with innovation backed by science and really being part of this revolution that is changing the way medical grade products are formulated and driving transformative results. Our scientific team has over 100 years of combined skincare experience, and we feature everyday clean medical grade skincare by continuously striving to ensure our products are the cleanest available to professionals by choosing cleaner preservatives and emulsifying alternatives. And we choose to formulate without questionable ingredients based on our toxicology-led safety assessments. At Illumier MD, we really do care about protecting and preserving our natural resources. Therefore, we're continually working on strategies to decrease our carbon footprint. Our packaging is recyclable. We don't cover our boxes in cellophane to decrease the amount of waste, and our products are not tested on animals. We do choose ingredients that are sustainable, and we choose suppliers who share our vision of protecting and maintaining our environment. So we really are a team of experts with over 100 years of combined experience here. And clean science or clean beauty, unfortunately, is a concept that in certain parts of the world it's under a bit of scrutiny right now. And again, more reason I think that we need to have this conversation tonight. We need as a group to continue this conversation and push for this across the board. It's not a regulated term, and therefore many brands have jumped on the wagon with very little to substantiate their efforts. For example, some felt that taking a fragrance or a dye out of a formula would classify them as clean. But however, that's really not the whole story. Chemistry today makes finding alternatives to these specific ingredients really simple. And so to us, clean science is an ongoing mission and something that we're very passionate about. And it is one of the reasons that drives our company's purpose. We've spent 3 years transitioning our entire portfolio, including home care and our full range of back bar, to align with this mission. And we are actually utilizing technologies that have only been available for the last 3 to 5 years. We have successfully removed phthalates, sulfates, dyes, petrolatum, artificial fragrances, PEGs, and even phenoxyethanol from our 90% of our products, and we are striving to get to 100%. So as we mentioned, some of these ingredients are easier to remove than others, and some like PEGs and phenoxyethanol are not so easy to remove. These ingredients are important because they keep your formula stable, they make it stick, and they ultimately ensure that we don't see microbial growth within the formula over time, which of course is very important. So finding these cleaner alternatives while still developing efficacious formulas that drive transformative results in elegant textures that patients enjoy using every day, and driving innovative science to provide physicians with products they trust, that's the hard part. I don't know if anybody on this call is as old as me, but I always think of Cher and the Jack LaLanne commercials for the gym. If a beautiful body came in a bottle, everyone would have it. And I feel like this is that same concept. Like, it looks like it's so easy, but it's really not. And we truly are dedicated to this mission, and we will not stop until we are able to get 100% of our line in this whole formulation format. So all products need to be medical first and foremost for us, and that's inclusive of the right ingredients that are clinically backed in therapeutic concentrations that drive transformative results. Next, they have to align with our clean science mission, And last but not least, to ensure compliance, it has to be an elegant texture that encourages regular use. It's not easy, but we do believe it's the right thing to do. And at Illumier, we don't do what's easy, we do what's right. So I want to talk just quickly about the last two ingredients on the list, PEGs and phenoxyethanol. And we know that these are found in almost all cosmetic products everywhere. So one of my favorite words, they're ubiquitous. They're efficacious, they're robust, and they're incredibly difficult to find alternatives for. But as science has evolved, and due to the questionable risks affiliated with these ingredients, patients no longer want them in their skincare. Today, especially after what the world has gone through in the past couple of years, health and well-being is becoming an absolute priority, and consumers are seeking out cleaner alternatives that make them feel good about what they choose to apply to their skin. So it used to be, I don't care, I just want to look good. And now we're saying, I want to look good, and I demand that we do it in a way that is safe for me, safe for my family, and safe for our environment. So we've actually forced our chemists to work in ways that they've never had to. And we've asked them to remove traditional preservatives, traditional emulsification systems because of these potential risks. And in turn, dependent on the formulation, we've introduced the use of naturally derived emulsification systems in a patent pending preservative system. So of course, through rigorous testing, ensuring it all aligns with our formulation trifecta, we are pioneering a cleaner way to formulate physician dispensed skincare, adding more options for your patients to choose from today. And when we look at this, it's not just about the clean science. It's not just about the active ingredients, but it is about real patients and real results. So you can see this first picture is an acne patient using a full Illumier MD regimen using refining clay mask, our BHA 20 chemical peel 3 to 4 weeks apart, a total of 6 treatments. And then their home care consisted of purifying gel cleanser, clear shield, broad spectrum SPF 42.
And Jody, we do have to wrap things up as soon as possible because it's just in a matter of people's time.
Okay, I've got one more slide.
Perfect.
All right, thank you. And then our hyperpigmentation before and after, this is the use of our IntelliBright complex, both AM and PM, and this is hydroquinone free. And then finally, I think the most impressive picture, and we all know how challenging rosacea can be to treat, is our before and after for rosacea. So again, the last thing I want to talk about is our Illumier Foundation. And this just goes again to who Illumier MD is. And it truly is a brand with a heart. Our Illumier Foundation, this is our philanthropic foundation. So we put our dollars hard to work for the children in South Africa. This is called our Halo Project. And so with the efforts of our Illumier Foundation, the school that we have built was once just a teacher under a tree trying to teach children. And now it is equipped with full-size classrooms, fresh running water, electricity, toilets, a full perimeter fence ensuring safety, and money made from the sale of our Everactive C+E and our kits all go to benefit our school. So that is part of our heart as well. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them and talk to you more about our brand promise guarantee. But Dr. Roberts and team, thank you so much for having us. And I hope that I was able to go through that fast enough for you guys.
You were perfect. Thank you so much. And to be continued in the live meeting in 2023. Thank you, Jody. Okay, we'll have our next speaker. Oh, great. There she is. Hello, Dr. Ava Shamban, who has spoken for many GDerm lectures. Welcome back, Ava. And I think that the most important thing about Ava is that she has this incredible box, which is delivered and curated, and it's her favorite skincare brands, not to be missed. So we want to hear what you have to say about USK Underskin, because we know that it's in your box.
Yes, so I wanted first of all to mention a couple of the other lines that have been discussed tonight and presented. And I'm a huge fan of both of the CBD line that Dr. Mullaney has presented and also the Illumier. I think they're both outstanding lines with carefully curated and developed ingredients. So on that note, I'm going to talk about Underskin. So Underskin is one of our favorite lines in the office. And we found that the full range has a wide variety of active ingredients that are very effective, do very well with people's skin types. And it's very nice because you can mix and match different serums that exist in the line. So it's one of my faves and certainly my staff faves, because there are so many outstanding products within the line. So without further ado, can you roll the slides? Because I'm going to go ahead and present the line. And this is going to be, this is a brief presentation. You have the slides, right?
No, we thought you were going to do your own slides.
No, that they were sent to you. I couldn't do it because it was short notice. Sorry. In that case, I mean, I don't have the presentation uploaded.
I can do the slides for you, Dr. Ava. It's Christina, I'm here.
Oh, hi, Christina.
Hi. Let's see here.
Yeah, maybe Christina can run them.
Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
You started,
Yes,
yeah, there you
perfect.
go.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Okay, you please take it away, Dr. Ava.
Okay, so the Underskin line was developed in Italy, and you can see here that it has a fairly large range. So what's really interesting about it is that, well, it was designed in Italy, but it was founded in Brazil in 2015. So in terms of what kind of science underlies it, it's really about epigenetics and trying to figure out what molecules are going to turn on the genes. And so I think that this is an outstanding example of a line that actually achieves what it promises to do. So these high performance ingredients have a lot of botanicals in them and other ingredients that can really deliver results. So there have been a number of studies that have shown the efficacy of this line. And the idea behind it is that it wants to address so many hallmarks of aging. And so, of course, the pillars are cleanse, take off all of those pollutants and other destructive molecules that stick to the skin. You want to be able to protect and repair, and of course, transform the skin into something much better than what you started, and stimulate cell turnover as well as neocollagenesis. So looking at and I'm a huge fan of this rice scrub, because I think that, scrubs, we've gone from harsh scrubs to milder scrubs. And what's nice about the rice scrub is, of course, first, it's biodegradable, so that you don't have to worry about any, I mean, they're illegal now, but you can't have a scrub that has like any kind of microspheres in it. But having an exfoliator that comes from a plant that's from the rice shell it's gently abrasive. And so not only do you have the effect of sloughing off the top layer of the stratum corneum, which has gotten so dried out that it just gives you an uneven texture, but you also stimulate cell renewal. So you can see here, looking at these slides, that from the beginning to the end, you get a much smoother surface. So you can get quite a nice exfoliation with it. In terms of treating different conditions, looking at melasma, we see that using a extract from the olive leaf. All the plants, of course, they have their own natural antioxidants. Why? Because they can't put on sunscreen. They don't have sunscreen. So they've all developed their own antioxidants that's very potent in terms of its activity. And so looking at some of these botanicals are more effective than others in terms of treating skin conditions such as melasma. So looking at melasma, after the rice scrub and some olive leaf, that you get an improvement, almost a 20% improvement in melasma. Okay, I was just seeing it there. So as I said, one of the really nice things with this line is that there are all these different serums that you can mix and match, and you can change them up over the month to see what kind of result you're looking for, what kind of issue, what kind of problem you're looking for a solution. So the so-called Desire Sculpt Serum has a wonderful combination of actives that help reduce the appearance of wrinkles and improve moisturization. So you can see here in these, I can't remember what these are called, these, I guess, 3D images of the skin, that after 42 days, so really it's pretty short, it's not even 6 weeks, that the perceived age reduced, by about 3 years younger. And that's probably due to the light reflectance because you have a smoother surface. So keep scrolling down because another active that's in here is the red algae. So we know that telomeres, the longer your telomeres are, the older you're going to be, or the longer you're going to last. And of course, we know that these are the protein caps at the end of the chromosomes. And all this was described by Elizabeth Blackwell, for which she won she was awarded a Nobel Prize. So looking at anything that you can do to extend the length and life of the telomeres, which primarily is reducing the activity, which is increasing the activity of the telomerase, which is the enzyme that repairs these telomeres. So this red algae does help express telomere proteins and limits the shortening of them. So by doing this, it helps improve the density of the extracellular matrix, which is, of course, where you have your collagen, elastin, and hyaluronic acid. So I really like, this is one of our favorite serums in the line. And so this is just a little diagram showing that it helps stabilize the genome, and it does this by protecting the telomeres. And so by doing this, you can, I was just zooming in to look at the exact pathways. I remember my middle son, we learned about obviously DNA, RNA, and the protein synthesis and the primary hypothesis, but he was looking at all these 3-dimensional transfiguration of how everything looked and how it unwraps and this and that. So suffice it to say that these two enzymes, they're not enzymes, the POTI and TPP1, but that's where they bind. It's one of the binding proteins that help unravel, that help open up the helix. So suffice it to say that it restores the levels to what they should be. Okay, next one. So then we can add in a booster. And so the booster, the advanced defense booster, does help regenerate tissue, and it does it through this USK trademarked biocomplex. And so what the biocomplex is, it's a combination of the olive leaf extract with some peptides and a hyaluronic acid. And so this complex helps stimulate fibroblasts to make more collagen, and that will, of course, increase the firmness of the skin. And it also seems to increase the production, increase elastogenesis as well. And we know that elastin provides the snapback. So, so that's a really nice thing to add to the booster. So hold on. So the next ingredient, the advanced defense booster, is the ferulic acid. And so the active ingredients in this is nano-coated ferulic acid, and this is derived from corn and rice bran. And these nanospheres give progressive release. And so that's really helpful because not only does it improve penetration, but it improves delivery. And of course, ferulic acid is a powerful antioxidant. So it helps prevent formation of blemishes, as well as has revitalizing action. And it also has a skin lightening effect. So we really like this advanced defense booster, especially for the population here. Another active ingredient there is maslinic acid. And so this is in the family of the alpha hydroxy acids, and it helps provide significant skin redness reduction, as well as reducing, the sunburned cells are already, they're already damaged, but it helps prevent their formation. So I think that every line worth its salt has to have a retinol in it. And so what's really important, obviously, wait, don't go back up a little bit, or maybe it's just my screen. There we go. Okay, so having a retinol that is encapsulated helps improve the absorption and helps prevent it from being metabolized so quickly. So taking a retinol and then adding a phyto booster, which you get once again from botanicals, really helps improve the stability of the retinol and also the efficacy. So this is, I mean, as I said, every line has to have a retinol. And so this one I particularly like. And once again, you know, some people like a fairly complicated skincare routine. And so they're going to want to have something to do on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and something on Tuesday and Thursday. And so, you know, it's really designed for the more OCD of our patients, shall we say. Okay, next slide. And so you can see here that the booster really helps improve. So of course we have all these retinoid receptors in the skin, and so it improves the binding to these receptors. So, and to the RAR, which helps stimulate collagen. So you can see, looking at these immunohistochemical samples, how well it binds, and it binds to the basement membrane as well. Actually, I'm sorry, it binds to its target cells down into the dermis. And scroll down a little bit. And so this is just sort of a very brief sample of this line. This line has a tremendous number of SKUs in it. And I'm very impressed with the quality of the ingredients and how well the quality of these ingredients translate to actual results in the skin. So there it is. That's USK in a nutshell. Christina, do you want to add something? You want to add anything?
Sure.
Oh, wait, I'm
sure.
sorry. Were you doing, oh, there's a little bit more on the advanced.
These were just some of the previous slides. Thanks, Doctor. I was just going to add that I'm Senior Territory Manager for Underskin, and it's such a pleasure working with both of you. First of all, thanks so much, Dr. Roberts, for organizing this webinar, and thank you, Dr. Ava, for giving such a great description of the products. So we're a cruelty-free, paraben-free, sulfate-free line, but we also pride ourselves on being medical grade, obviously physician dispensed only. Underskin came about as a passion project originally, and from our owner when he actually, his mother passed away in Brazil. And so this line was born from that after he wanted to make the most amazing cosmeceutical line in the world. And we kind of, like Illumier and like the other amazing line earlier that I hadn't even seen before, but I was really intrigued by. We have an aromatherapy blend as well, a black cherry and peony extract. It's our aromatherapy fragrance blend that's all natural. It's a very, very soothing, calming, natural fragrance. And yeah, everything we do, it revolves around all the anti-aging, hallmarks of aging, hyperpigmentation, and antioxidant and anti-inflammatory benefits as well.
Great. Thank you, Christina. Are there any questions for Dr. Chamban or Christina?
Yeah, so I just wanted to just mention before, because I have to hop off, but I just wanted to mention that the anti-inflammatory benefits of this line are quite dramatic. I mean, they're noticeable. And I think that we all know that inflammation is where it's happening in terms of premature aging and certainly damage to the skin. So I just think that when you go through, and there are so many lines out there and it's difficult to choose, but it's really important to investigate the line that you're carrying in your office and to make sure that it does have real benefits and real science behind it. And that's why I'm so impressed with the lines that have been showcased here tonight. So I'm not really available. I mean, I can have a quick question, but otherwise I've got to run. And otherwise, anybody can contact me, ava@avamd.com. And you can follow of course, with our social handles, Dr. Dr. Ava Says, in which you will find pictures of me and Dr. Roberts and Christina and a lot of other people.
Right, so unmute now or forever hold your peace till the next time. But yeah, I can't agree more. These companies and these products that we've showcased are really the leaders in clean cosmeceuticals, sustainability, organic, science, and all of the other attributes, and social. So I'd like to thank everyone, and we're at that time. And if you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to just send them over. I think you know everyone's handles. You can also go and reach us at generationaldermatology.com. And you're gonna all come back to the live meeting, okay? So this doesn't stop here because this is hot. This is the biggest trend in skincare. And we're going to continue to grow together. So thank you, Ava, Yetunde, Jody, everyone, Michael, thanks so much. See everybody. We're June 14th is the next one.
Thanks all.
Thank you guys.
Thank
It was
you.
a pleasure. It was
Bye.
amazing.